You see them everywhere now. Young men in their 20s and 30s living completely differently than you did at that age. No steady jobs, no marriages, no long-term plans, and your first instinct is to judge them lazy, entitled, weak. But let me ask you something. If you were 25 years old today instead of 65, would you do it all again? Would you work 60-hour weeks for a company that could fire you tomorrow? Would you get married knowing divorce could take half your assets and your kids? Would you sacrifice your health for a pension that barely exists anymore? Be honest. Because Gen Z men looked at the exact same deal you took and said, absolutely not. And before you call them lazy or entitled, I'm going to show you exactly what changed, why their refusal might actually be smarter than you think, and what this means for both generations. And if you're new here, subscribe now, because this is going to help you understand why young men are so different and why you might actually respect them for it. Let me start with the biggest one: marriage. You got married young, early 20s, maybe even earlier. You stayed married, or if you divorced, you tried again. Marriage is just what you did. It wasn't even a question. It was the next step after dating. Gen Z men, they're not getting married. Marriage rates for men in their 20s are at historic lows. They're in situationships or just staying single. And when they do commit, it's in their 30s without the legal contract. Why? Because they watched what happened to your generation. They watched boomer divorces destroy men financially. Half the assets gone. The house gone. Daily access to kids gone. They watched no-fault divorce make exit easy for women while men paid the bill. On top of that, they grew up seeing that marriage doesn't guarantee stability, sex, respect, or partnership anymore. It just guarantees legal and financial risk. So Gen Z men asked, "What's in it for me?" And the honest answer is, nothing you can't get without signing a contract that could destroy you later. You accepted marriage because it came with clear benefits. They refuse it because those benefits disappeared while the risks multiplied. Now, marriage wasn't the only lifelong commitment your generation made. The other one consumed even more of your time, your health, and your identity, your career. You worked at the same company for 30, 40 years. You showed up early, stayed late, worked weekends. 60, 70 hours a week wasn't uncommon. You sacrificed time with your kids, your health, your hobbies. You accepted limited vacation that you rarely took. You said yes to unpaid overtime. You were on call before that was even a phrase. And you did it all without complaint because you believed loyalty and hard work would be rewarded. And for many of you, it was. You got job security, promotions, and a pension. The deal worked. Gen Z refuses all of it. They job hop every 2 to 3 years. They work there 40 hours and go home. They don't answer emails after 5 p.m. They take mental health days. They demand remote work, use every vacation day, refuse unpaid overtime, and set boundaries they actually enforce. Quiet quitting is their default mode, and company loyalty, they laugh at the concept. So what changed? Why do they refuse what you accepted? Because they watched companies betray your generation. They saw boomers laid off in their 50s after 30 years of service. They watched pensions disappear or get gutted. They saw too old to hire, too young to retire destroy men who gave everything to one employer. They watched what all those hours cost you: burnout, health problems in your 50s and 60s, men dying shortly after retirement without ever enjoying the life they worked for, companies replacing you within a week of your retirement party. And they realized something you were never allowed to say. The extra hours don't actually lead to proportionally more success. Working 60 hours doesn't make you twice as successful as working 40. It just makes you twice as exhausted. Beyond that, the rewards evaporated. Pensions are gone for most workers now. Job security doesn't exist. Raises barely keep up with inflation. The only way to get significant pay increases is to leave every few years. And here's the kicker, a Gen Z man can work 60 hours a week and still not afford what you bought on 40 hours in 1975. Housing costs exploded, education costs exploded, healthcare costs exploded. So they looked at career loyalty, brutal hours, and accepting whatever terms employers offered, and they asked, why? Why sacrifice for companies that will dump you? Why work yourself to death when it doesn't build wealth anymore? Why accept bad terms when better options exist one job search away? They couldn't come up with good answers, so they refused. You accepted the career deal because loyalty paid off, extra hours built something, and you didn't know other options existed. They refuse because loyalty gets punished, extra hours don't pay off, and they can see every better option with one Google search. Now, if you're starting to understand why young men live so differently, hit that subscribe button now and keep watching because we're not done yet. And here's the final shift, the one that might explain everything else. It's about your entire philosophy of life versus theirs. You delayed everything. You saved for retirement instead of spending on experiences. You sacrificed present comfort for future security. You went without so your kids could have more. You built slowly, planning for a retirement that would finally let you enjoy life. Gen Z is doing the opposite. They spend on experiences now. They travel in their 20s and 30s instead of waiting for retirement. They prioritize present happiness over future security. And saving for retirement? Many aren't even trying because they don't believe retirement will exist for them the way it existed for you. Why did this shift happen? Because they watched delayed gratification fail for many boomers. They saw men work 40 years, sacrifice everything, and then die at 67 before enjoying retirement. Or retire broke because pensions failed or healthcare costs ate savings. Or retire into a world where inflation destroyed the value of what they saved. On top of that, their economic outlook is bleak. Social Security projected to be insolvent, housing completely unaffordable, retirement age likely moving to 70 or beyond. Climate anxiety, so they looked at save now, enjoy later, and thought, what if later never comes? Plus the math changed. You could save a reasonable percentage of your income and build real wealth. They're told to save massive percentages just to have a chance at basic retirement, and even that's not guaranteed. So Gen Z men prioritize now over later because they're not convinced later will be worth the sacrifice, or that later will even exist. You delayed gratification because it paid off. They refuse because they don't believe it will. So here's the truth. Neither generation is right or wrong. You're both making rational decisions based on the incentives and realities of your time. You accepted marriage, career sacrifice, and delayed gratification because the system rewarded those things when you were young. You got pensions, home equity, stability, and a clear path forward. The deal worked, so accepting it made sense. Gen Z refuses those same things because the system doesn't reward them anymore. The deal broke. Marriage became a legal trap. Career loyalty became exploitation. Delayed gratification became dying before you enjoyed what you built, so they're opting out. Not because they're lazy or entitled, but because they looked at the deal you took and realized the terms changed without the rewards changing. And honestly, if you were 25 today instead of 65, you'd probably refuse most of it too. What matters now is making the most of where you are. You're in your senior years. You can't change the past or control what Gen Z decides, but you can focus on what actually matters at this stage: your health, your peace of mind, your happiness, and enjoying whatever time you have left. That's exactly what we focus on in our weekly newsletter. Real strategies for maintaining your health in your 60s and 70s. Mental clarity practices that actually work. Finding peace and happiness after a lifetime of grinding. We don't sugarcoat it, and we don't waste your time. Just practical guidance for making your senior years the best they can be. Link is in the description and pinned in the comment area. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button now to join our community. We create videos like this that validate the lives of senior men like you. So do well to subscribe now and share with your friends too. And tell me in the comment, what did you accept that you wish you hadn't? Is Gen Z smarter or just weaker? What would you refuse if you were young again? I want to hear your perspective. I'm Avery Scott, and I'll see you on the next one.